Yes, good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, so what about your other courses syllabus? Is it completed?
What?
The syllabus of the other courses, some बाकी courses का syllabus कैसे हो गया? चल रहा है?
चल रहा है सर. going on.
Because I think we have one more week after this, huh?
Week से start होगा ना सर 7 से.
Next week is there for classes. After that, 1 week for your practical exams, and then your final exam. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 people are there. Let's start. Okay. So before going to the memories, let us discuss that how we are going to implement the logic using NORA CMOS, okay, or NP domino logic. NORA CMOS or NP domino logic. So this is the logic in which we use NMOS followed by the PMOS. So let me give you a problem, okay, based on this, that you have to implement a logic function, which I am writing that A dot B into C bar plus D bar. Okay. This is a logic function you want to implement using NP domino. Try to implement using NP domino and tell me that how many MOSFET you are using and how you are going to implement this. So have anyone implement this?
Total transistor 10, 9, 10.
Yes.
Total transistor are 9, 10.
How much? 9 or 10?
10.
10.
Yeah.
10. Anyone else who have done with minimum number of transistors?
9.
9. Okay. Anyone else? So 9, name, your answer is 9, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. And Abhimanyu says 10. Okay, so it will be 9. Okay. And if you look at this, because if you want to implement using N and P, okay, N and P, so you can divide that one logic can be implemented using N and one can be P. But the thing is, your circuit is basically inverted. Okay, basically inverted. So you will get the output as inverted. So we have to think accordingly, means we need to implement this. So if we want to implement this, then this will be F will be basically A dot B bar. Okay, and then C bar plus D bar bar. Or we can write it A dot B bar C, this will be C double bar dot D double bar. That will be basically C dot D. This will be your function. Now you can see that we have taken bar of all the function. It means whatever the output at P, that will be compensated by this bar. And further, the output of N, okay, whatever the output of N, that is also a bar. It means this whole function consists of bar. So A dot B, if we implement this by using NMOS logic, okay, and then further when we multiply it with this logic, and we have taken the bar of this. Clear? So what does it mean? If I just take A into B, okay, this is basically pre-charge and evaluate, okay, which is phi. So this is basically A into B, okay, A into B, but it is bar basically. So this further we need to multiply it with no,
It will be addition.
addition, yeah, it will be addition with C into D. So this we got. Now it will be addition with CD, and then further it will be bar because we have taken. So this will be fed to PMOS. Okay, and here we are having two PMOS, which is having C and D, and this is again pre-charge, and here we have evaluate circuit. This will be connected with phi bar. Okay, this will be VDD, and the output will be taken from here. Okay, output will be taken from here with capacitance. So this will be V out, or this will be basically F. Okay, and here is the capacitance of this, which is pre-charge. So this will be your circuit. Okay, so you can see that it is basically A dot B bar plus C dot D, and further, lastly, we take bar. So when you open this will be basically A dot B into C plus D. Okay, so this will be your function. So you can see that it is using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 MOS for the logic implementation and 4 for the pre-charge and evaluate. Clear? So similarly, suppose if I want to implement XOR gate, okay, then how many gates will be used? Again, I think it will be 9, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, it will be 9 because it is similar to the previous one. But so now let's take that I have to implement A bar B plus B bar C. Now, how to implement this? Implement this and tell me the number of gates it will use.
So is it 6?
6. No, I think it not would be 6.
Again 9.
It will not be 9 because here you need to implement bar also.
Exactly. I think that will be in series. So this is the
So suppose this is a function, that this is a function. The actually the shortest thing is to basically take a bar b plus b bar c whole the bar. Okay, and then when you open, so it will be a bar b whole bar dot b bar c whole bar. In these two, one of the terms you need to open. Why? Because one is having bar, means you are going to implement that using NMOS and otherwise PMOS. Suppose, so this is basically a bar b, which is you are taking bar. Okay, now this is basically b plus c bar. Okay, means this, if you are going to implement using NMOS and this with the PMOS. But the thing is, here you need to take C bar and A bar also. Okay, in previous, either it is A, B, C direct, but here C bar is not basic. Malab, you are provided with C, you need to convert it to C bar. So two more inverters are also used. Okay, and if you are going to implement that inverter using this dynamic logic, then one inverter use 3 instead of 2. And one more thing is that in this we always use N and then P, and then again N and then P. Okay, it means if you are going to implement a logic with NMOS and you need A bar previously, then A bar should be with the PMOS. Okay, what does it mean? Suppose you are making A bar into B. So A bar into B, if you are using A bar into B with NMOS. Okay, so this is, let us suppose A bar into B. And this is A bar, this is B with NMOS, where this is the pre-charge circuit. And this is the evaluate circuit, which is connected with 5. So this A bar, you need to implement this A bar. This A bar should be with PMOS. Okay, it should not be NMOS. Why? Because it is, if it is with NMOS, then there will be error stage, which we have discussed. If there will be two N stage, okay, consecutive N stage, then there will be error while evaluating. So this A bar should be from PMOS only. Okay, it means we are realizing A bar from PMOS and then we are feeding here. And after that, we have calculated here, that is A bar dot B into whole the bar B. Then we need to multiply it with this logic. Okay, this logic means if this logic is going to implement with PMOS, because after that there will be PMOS. Then this is basically with PMOS, but in this we have to implement C bar. That C bar should be from NMOS. You got that? Okay, let me write this, that I have to implement A bar B whole bar into B plus C whole bar. Okay, this is the case. What I'm saying, that suppose I'm implementing this first one with NMOS logic. Okay, with NMOS logic. So This is our pre-charge, and this is A and B, A bar and B, and this is our phi, where this is basically A bar and this is basically B. Now, since we have to implement this A bar, so this A bar will be implemented using PMOS logic because this is NMOS logic. Okay. Should be PMOS logic, and in PMOS logic, we will use the 3 MOSFET. Okay, you can draw the inverter using PMOS. Further, we got here that this is A bar dot B whole the bar. Now this is further get multiplied, okay, get multiplied with B plus C, C bar. So in this, if this is got multiplied with this one, that is okay, this one, and this is PMOS logic, and where this AB bar, and here it is B, and this is C bar. This is basically phi bar VDD, and this C bar, since this is basically PMOS, this will be your function S. This is basically implemented with PMOS. It means this C bar should be implemented with NMOS. Okay, because we have to use consecutive. So we have to implement NMOS logic to convert C to C bar and PMOS logic to convert A to A bar. Okay, so 3 will be this, and how many this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 and 6, that will be 15 transistor will be used. Got my point?
Sir, if we minimize the function, we can get only 9.
Okay, so how you have minimized that function?
Sir, we take F bar,
yeah.
we get A plus B bar multiplied by B plus C bar.
Let me write. What was your question? F is
A bar B,
B plus
B bar C.
B bar C. Okay. So you have taken bar.
Bar, yes, sir.
Yes.
A plus B bar.
So this is basically A plus B bar.
Multiplied by B plus C bar.
Yeah.
Then we multiply.
Yeah, multiply.
AB
So-
plus.
Now what you have done?
Sir, I multiplied them.
Okay, you have multiplied by AB plus B bar C bar plus 0
0.
plus B bar C bar.
No, sir. A plus AC bar.
Okay, AB into, okay, AC bar, yeah, AC bar. This one.
This is equal to AB plus B bar C bar. AC bar is not necessary here.
You have done AB
Plus
plus,
B bar C bar.
you have omitted this one.
Yes, sir. By by minimizing the function.
Using, you can say K map.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. That is if you have implemented, you means minimize using K maps.
Yes, sir. Even this is also true.
That is good if you have minimized. Well, C bar will be common and A plus B bar. We can't minimize using this boolean, huh?
No.
that can be minimized using K-map.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you minimize the K-map, this will be eliminated.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This will be B bar, C bar. Okay, that's good if it is not minimized. Okay, but my purpose is to tell you that if you want to implement, because in some functions there might be a case that you need to implement inverter. Okay, in this case, because if this is the case, then it's fine. You can implement by using 9 again. Why? Because A, B is simply this. So if this is, you are going to implement, because this can be written as like this. No, it can be written like B bar.
B plus C bar.
Yeah, B plus C. Yeah, B plus C bar. So that will be B bar. So this can be implemented using NMOS, and second will be PMOS. It's again 9. But in some function, there might be a case that you need inverter. Okay, then remember that you have to implement that inverter using opposite style. Okay, whatever, if you are implementing using NMOS and you want A bar, then implement this using PMOS. Always. Don't use static inverter. Okay, and don't use same logic, because it will create some error. Clear? So this is my point, because all other logics which I have told you, that is basically using NMOS and then followed by NMOS again. Okay, but this is NORA in which you want NMOS and followed by PMOS. Clear? Now let's start with next topic, that is memories. Okay. So memories, till now means what you have read, that basically we have 2 types of memories, that is RAM and ROM. Okay. And ROM is basically non-volatile and RAM is volatile. Okay. But how to design these memories, this we are going to study in this lecture, with that what is RAM and what are the different type of RAM and how we are going to design that RAM and how that RAM is going to store the data. Okay, so let's start with the RAM first. Okay, because we have to design, means more designing is going on RAM instead of ROM. Okay, because ROM is a fixed memory that is not much used in your laptops also. ROM is there, but ROM is not that much big. All your hard disk, all your, you can say RAM, whatever RAM you use, 4 GB, 8 GB, that is basically RAM. Your hard disk is also RAM, because you can delete the data. ROM is used, but much research is going on RAM. If you look for the research paper also, okay, in that also they design either SRAM or DRAM. There is a further 2 types of RAM. We are having SRAM and DRAM. Okay, so SRAM is basically static RAM and DRAM is dynamic RAM. So whatever the circuits we have studied, okay, static and dynamic. So static means in which we are not using any capacitance node to store the data. So data is stored by cross-coupled inverter or cross-coupled latches, where the data is stored as it is. There is no need to refresh the circuit, and we don't have any capacitance where we just store the data and we need to refresh that. In dynamic, we use the capacitance node. So the advantage of SRAM is we need not to refresh the data, but disadvantage is we are having bigger circuit because we need more number of transistors. In DRAM, we require less number of transistors, but we need to refresh the data periodically. Okay, so we are having 2 type of RAM, SRAM and DRAM. So let's start with SRAM, that how SRAM is designed and how it functions and what are the design consideration we need to take care to perform the read and write operations. Okay. So if I just draw generalized structure for the SRAM, This is node and this is node. Okay. This is called bit line C, and this is bit line C bar. Okay. This is word line, and these are the transistor, let it be 1 and 2, and this is the basically load. Okay, and these are the nodes. Let us suppose I'm writing 1 and 2 where the data is stored. So if you look at this, this is basically load, and this load can be resistive load. Okay, depletion load means depletion load NMOS, or it can be PMOS to make it a CMOS. Okay, so this is basically an inverter, and this is again basically an inverter. Fine. And if you carefully look at this, this is basically the output of inverter 1. If I write inverter 1 and this is inverter 2. Okay. And what is the input to this inverter? Input is this. Okay. Whatever the input given to gate of this transistor 1. And this is the output of transistor. Similarly, the input of 2 transistor is this one, and output is here. So you can see that we have connected 2 inverters like this. This is input, or this is output, and this is input, this is output. So these 2 are the cross-coupled inverters. Similarly, here we are using the cross-coupled inverter to store the data. Okay. So data is stored at node 1 and at node 2. Because in flip-flop also we have a complementary data Q and Q bar. So if I say Q is here, Q bar is here. So if 0 is stored here, then this transistor is off. Okay, and VDD is directly connected with this. So VDD will be here since there is no path, and this VDD in turn will turn on this. And if this is turned on, this is connected with ground. So as long as there is no value from outside, this cross-coupled inverter is going to store 0 on this and 1 on node 2, means VDD here. Okay, and these are called the these 2 are called access transistors. Okay, which are used to access the data, either read operation or write operation. Read and write is done through these 2 transistors, that is access transistor. So that is done whenever your word line is high. Okay, whenever your word line is high. So when word line is high, these 2 transistors are on, and your read and write is done from the bit line and bit line C bar. Okay, so further, this SRAM can consist of resistive load, depletion load, or full CMOS. So we use basically full CMOS because of the thing that it consists of less power. Why? Because most of the times we don't perform read-write operation, it is only storing the data. So if it is storing the data, so both the cross-coupled inverter are consuming very, very less power, okay, as compared to resistive load or depletion and MOS load. Clear? So let us draw the full CMOS SRAM and see that how it is going to operate. This is basically input of the both. So this node is connected with this node, and this node is connected with this node, and this will be VDD. Now this is your access transistor, and here we are having VDD, PMOS connected with this VDD, and here the capacitance is there, that is called CC bar, and here the capacitance node is there, that is CC, and this is connected with word line. Okay, and here I'm going to number the transistors. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Okay, and let it be, this will be Q and this is be Q bar. Okay, so this is your CMOS SRAM. It is called 6T SRAM because it is using 6 transistor SRAM. And what are that 6 transistor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest, these 2 transistors are basically pull-up transistor which are used to charge up the capacitance node. Okay, so you can see that these 2 transistors are always on. Okay, are always on. So it is going to charge this and this. And this is charged whenever we do the read operation. Means these 2 capacitance are charged accordingly. We need to perform the read operation. While doing the write operation, okay, suppose we want to perform the write operation, then if I want to write Q as 1, then I need to give 1 here. Simultaneously, I have to give 0 here. Why? Because if Q is written to be 1, Q bar to be 0. Okay. Similarly, if I want to write 0 at Q, so I have to give 1 here. So write circuitry is somewhat different. In order to read, we charge both the transistors, both the capacitance, that is CC and CC bar. Okay. We charge both the capacitance CC and CC bar, and suppose here is 1 and here is 0. Okay, so when this is 1 basically, and we charge both to VDD, means both are 1. Both are 1, this one, and we turn on the WL. So what will happen? That there is no potential difference between these 2, so there will be no current flows through these 2. Okay, there will be no current flow through this M3 transistor. But in this capacitance, okay, this capacitance CC is going to discharge through this path, because since this is 0 and this is 1, if this is 1, then it turn on this M2 and this is going to discharge through this path, and since it is going to discharge through this path, this capacitance potential will go down. So let us suppose it is 1.2 volt and it will go down, not to 0, okay, because I will tell you that it will not go to 0, it will go, means it will discharge towards 0, but not as much fast as that, because we turn on the WL for some time. Okay, we turn on the WL for some time so that it is going to discharge. So it will be discharged to let it be 1 volt. Okay, 1 volt. Then there will be small potential difference created. Okay, means there is small change in the potential. That potential small change is sensed by here. This basically is connected with sense amplifier. Okay, sense amplifier, that is basically operational amplifier, which is used to sense a very small change in the voltage. Sense amplifier. So when it is sensed that there is a change in voltage, so your circuit is programmed accordingly that your zero is stored in that location. If there is no, supposing this, there will be no current and no potential change. So sense amplifier input will be 0. It means it is storing 1 because there is no change in potential. If there is some change in potential, then it is storing 0. Okay, that's how the read circuitry work. In write circuitry, we simply gives the 1 and 0, and it is simply go to write on that node. Okay. Now let's see that how read and write operation is performed and how we are going to scale the W by L ratio of different MOSFETs. Okay. So let's consider first that we are going to read 0. Okay, we are going to read 0 and your Q is storing 0. This node is storing 0 as this node is storing 1. Okay, and we have to read the 0. If we have to read the 0 means we are reading through this. Okay, because 0 is stored here. Now if 0 and 1 is stored, it means our M2 is off. I am deleting this M2. Why? Because this 0 is connected with M2. So M2 is off. Okay. Similarly, if 1 is stored here, so M5 is also off. So I'm disconnecting. Okay, this one. 0 is 1 is stored. So 0 is turning on 6 and 1 is turning on 1. So your path is, VDD path is this one and this is connected with ground. Okay. That's why I'm showing like this. I'm reading 0. Now, at this node, okay, at this node, there is some node, capacitance node, which is basically parasitic capacitance node. We are not storing the data on parasitic. We are not relying on parasitic capacitance because it is basically cross-coupled inverter. But still there is a parasitic capacitance here. Okay. Now, what will happen? When we read the data, this is basically charged to VDD first. Okay. And similarly, this is charged to VDD first. After charging it to VDD, we turn on the WL, that is word line. If word line is given to be 1, it means our transistor 3 and 4 is turned on. So when 3 and 4 is turned on, you will see that there will be no current flow through this path. Why? Because this is VDD, that is 1 and this is 1. But in here, this path, this CC is going to discharge through this path. Okay, CC is going to discharge through this path. And as I have told that there is some parasitic capacitance at this node. So this parasitic node is going to charge. Okay, this parasitic node is going to charge. And this parasitic is very small. Okay, very small as compared to this CC. Now this parasitic capacitance will charge, but this should not charge as this should go the current flow through this. Now what will happen? There might be a case that this means the voltage at node this Q can go beyond the threshold voltage of M2. I'm writing here M2. Which is M2? M2 is here, which is connected with this. M2 is actually turned off. Now, while discharging this, the voltage at node Q can go beyond voltage of threshold voltage of M2. What does it mean? Suppose the threshold voltage of M2 is 0.7. And while current is flowing through and this capacitance is charged to 0.8 volt. If it is charged to 0.8 volt, it will turn on the M2 transistor. And if M2 gets turned on, your one value which is stored here, that will go to discharge. Okay. And if this is going to be discharged, then this will be 0, which in turn on this M5. And if M5 will be turned on, then your value stored here will become out to be 1. It means your stored value will be disturbed. Clear? Is it clear what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So
And because
Yeah.
because of discharging, this B1 is going to increase, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it will turn to 1.
Yeah, this is the problem. Okay, so our purpose should be that we should make the W by L ratio of 1 and 3 in such a way that this voltage should not go beyond the threshold voltage of M2. Okay, what I mean to write that VQ maximum should be less than or equal to V threshold of M2. Okay. This should be our purpose. Okay. Now, in order to find the W by L equation, what should we write? We know that the current flowing through this means current flowing through I3 means M3. I'm writing the current flowing through M3 is I3 is equal to the current flowing through the M1, that is I1. Okay, whatever the current flowing through this is current flowing through this because the path is this one. Now we have to identify in which region our MOSFET is operating. Okay, so can you tell that in which region your M3 is operating at the initial stage?
M1 is in linear.
M1 is in
linear.
Yeah,
We can say
M1 will
threshold voltage से ज़्यादा होएगा नहीं तो it will be obviously in linear obviously.
M1 will work in linear and M3 will work in saturation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I'm just deleting this. So I have to write that I M3 is equal to I M1. And M1 is working in saturation and M3 is working in M1 is working in linear, M3 is working in saturation. So I can write that KN3 divided by 2 VGS for M3. Okay, for M3 VGS is basically VDD, which is connected with ground gate of M3 minus source. Okay, source is connected with V1 or I am writing VQ. In our case, I have taken Q. If you see for M3, this is connected with VDD. Why? Because this is word line. Word line is turned on. This is our VQ. Okay, because the current is flowing in this direction. Okay, so this is VDD minus VQ minus V threshold of N. I'm writing here N because this is NMOS. So square. Okay, that is equal to KN1 divided by 2. Now this is in linear region. So I'm writing 2 VDD minus V threshold of N into VQ minus VQ square. Okay, where VQ is V drain. Okay, V drain of M3. If you look at this, okay, this is connected with 1, that is VDD. This is connected with ground and this is basically VQ. So for this, VG is this one, that is VDD. V drain is VQ. Okay, and V threshold I am writing like this. Now, I know that your VQ should be less than or equal to V threshold of M2, or M2 is basically V threshold of N. We are assuming that the threshold voltage of all the NMOS is equal. Okay, so we know that this should be the condition. So we put VQ, we take is equal to, that it is just equal to V threshold N. So we can put VQ just equal to V threshold of N. Okay, so this will be replaced by V threshold of N, and this will be replaced by V threshold of N. Similarly, this will be replaced by V threshold of N whole square. Okay, so this, when you solve, I'm writing the value, you will find that Kn3 divided by Kn1, or because mu and C oxide, let it be same, so I can write W by L of 3 divided by W by L of 1 is satisfying this condition. Let me write this value. Okay, this is the, suppose this is the value. Now, or let me write this in this way, that I3 is equal to I1. Okay, I3 equal to I1. This is the case. Now, if we make, since both are NMOS, if we make the W by L ratio of 1, okay, M1, W by L ratio of M1 greater than W by L ratio of 3. Okay, what does it mean? That M1 having greater capability of sinking the current as compared to M3. Or let me write that this is M3 and this is M1. Okay, 3 and 1. The W by L ratio of this is greater, okay, than W by L ratio of this. Then this is going to sink the more current, means this is going to charge the node capacitance here, but as long as it is charging, there is a more capability of taking the current in this direction, because if I make W by L ratio of 1 greater, then before going this value beyond V threshold, it is going to discharge to ground. Fine. So our agenda is to make the W by L ratio of 1 to be greater. It means the current flowing through I1 should be greater than I3. I am putting that I3 is equal to I1, it's fine, because the current will flow through. But then it can be taken as greater if I am making W by L ratio of 1 as greater. But so what I mean to say, that I am replacing this equation with this one, such that when W by L going in this side, it will be greater. So this ratio, okay, this ratio should be maintained. This equation you need to remember in order to get that your VQ should not go beyond V threshold of N. Okay, this value. I am putting this mark. Why? Because when W by L ratio go on right side, it should be greater. So what I mean to see, W ratio 1 is greater than W by L ratio of 3, so that your voltage at node Q should not charge, should not go beyond V threshold of M2. Fine. So this is basically the designing rule. This is basically V threshold of N. Designing rule, or this is the scaling rule of W by L ratio of 1 and 3 in order to read properly. Okay. Any doubt in this? No
So,
doubt? Yes.
can M1 be in cutoff region?
Can M1 be in cutoff region?
Yes.
Cutoff region में तो तब आएगा ना when VG will be 0.
Yes, VG will be 0 and
But
VGS.
VG is always connected to 1.
Okay, yes.
So it can't be in cutoff because it is always connected with 1. 1 is stored at Q bar.
Yes.
Okay. So this
It will be always in linear only, right?
always in linear.
Yes.
Okay. So this is your condition. This is your scaling rule in order to read successfully. Okay. Or let me tell you another technical word. One is called destructive reading. Destructive reading. And second is called non-destructive reading. So destructive reading is that reading in which when we read the data and after reading the data, your data gets corrupted. Okay. And in non-destructive reading, it means you read the data, but data is stored as it is. It is not changed. So while we are performing the read operation in the last case, in order to avoid the destructive reading, we do the scaling of M1 with respect to M3. Okay, so that your voltage at node Q should not go beyond V threshold of M. If it go beyond V threshold of M2, then you will see that M2 will turn on, 0 will be stored to Q bar, 1 will be stored on Q. Okay, so this your data is changed. It means destructive reading. We should avoid the destructive reading. Okay, sometimes there are terms called destructive reading and non-destructive. So you must know that what is that. Okay, so this is what we call scaling rule. So this is the scaling rule which we use in read operation. Now let's see that how we are going to use this rule in write operation. And now we are discussing the case of write 0. Suppose I have to write the 0. So if I have to write the 0, I'm again drawing the SRAM. So this is connected with 0 volt. Suppose priorly 1 is stored here and we have to write the 0. If I have to write the 0, I'm giving the 0 to the bit line. Okay, this is word line. And if I'm writing 0 here, so I have to write 1 here, means VDD. Okay, and 0 is stated previously and it is charged to VDD C bar so that 1 will be written here and 0 will be written here. Okay, clear? So I am again numbering 1, 3, 5, 6 and 2 and this is 4. Okay, now I have told you that 1 and 0 is stored. If 1 and 0 is stored, it means your M2 and M5 will be on and M6 and M1 will be off. Okay, since this is 0, it means this is off and this is 1, M6 is off. So I am just omitting this M6 and M1. Okay, so this will be your working part when you are writing 0. Now, what will happen that we have provided 0 here and VDD here, and previously 1 and 0 is stored. So as we turn on the WL word line, then what will happen? This 1 is going to discharge through this path. Okay, this 1 is going to discharge through this path. It means this should go to 0. And if you look at this path, this 1 is going to come on this 0. Okay, this 1 is going to come on 0. And if you study, means if you compare this part, that this 1 is going to this is basically VDD, and this is going to discharge through this. So this case is basically similar to the read 0 operation. In read 0 operation also we see that this is basically VDD, this is 0, and this is going to be this one. Okay, and if we have already scaled this M1 to M3, similarly same thing will be applied to 2 to 4. It means if I say W by L of 1 is greater than W by L of 3, same thing should be applied to the right hand side. Means W by L of 2 should be greater than W by L of 4. Okay, such that this write operation is not going to disturb this one. Fine. Now, when this operation is going on, this one is going to discharge. Okay, this one is going to discharge, but you can see that this one is previously stored and this 0 turn on this one. It means this VDD is going to come through this path. This one is there, and there will be parasitic node capacitance. This is previously stored with 1, and this is again charging through this VDD. It means you need to discharge this parasitic node to 0. Now, in order to make it 0, means faster, if you want to make the operation faster, what should you perform? You can compare it again with the previous operation, that the W by L ratio of M3, this should be greater than M5, such that this should have more sinking power of current as compared to M3. Then it will make this capacitance node 0 first. Clear? It is basically same if you compare with the last operation. In that, if you look at this, see, this is the VDD, this is the 0. Okay, this is going to charge this one. In order to avoid, means in order to make this to 0, we should make this MOSFET W by L ratio more, so that it should have more sinking capacity of the current. Similarly, W by L ratio of 3 should be greater than W by L ratio of 5, so that it should sink more current and make this node 0 as early as possible. Clear? So we can write the same thing to this way, so that same equation, that W by L of 5 divided by W by L ratio of 3. Okay, so that will be mu n by mu p to VDD minus 1.5 V threshold of n into V threshold of n divided by VDD plus V threshold of P whole square. So you can see here that while deriving this, we got mu n and mu p. Why? In the previous case, when we are writing, we are having this case. Okay. And in this case, both are NMOS. That's why we don't have mu n, because both get cancelled. But in this case, we are having this as PMOS and excess transistor as NMOS. Okay. So what we are doing here, we are writing the equations that your M5 will work in saturation region and M3 will work in linear region. So we equating that, and we will find that we got mu n by mu p ratio also. Okay, and twice of VDD minus 1.5 V threshold of n into V threshold of n divided by V threshold of p. So here, if you look at this, you will find that W by L ratio of 3 should be greater than W by L ratio of 5. Since this is to left-hand side of the circuit, similarly, this can be applicable to the right-hand side of the circuit also. It means W by L ratio of 4 should be greater than W by L ratio of 6. Because why? Because same operation can be performed to right-hand side circuit. If we are writing 0 on left-hand side, we have to write 0 on right-hand side also. Okay, and this is your scaling equation. Any doubt? So equations, you know, in general, we can write that W by L ratio of 1 should be greater than W by L ratio of 3, and it will be greater than W by L ratio of 5. Similarly, W by L ratio of 2 greater than W by L ratio of 4 greater than W by L ratio of 6. So this should be the scaling rule while you design the SRAM, so that your proper read and write operation will be performed. And what will be the ratio that I have told you, and that is written before, that how it is going to scale. Clear? So let me give you one problem based on that. So W by L ratio of M1 and M2 is equal to 4 by 4, and W by L ratio of M3 and M4 is M3 and M4 is 2 by 4. Okay, you have to find the W by L ratio of 5 and 6. It is given that VDD is 2 volt. Okay, and V threshold of N is 0.7 volt. V threshold of P is minus 0.7 volt. And (96 microampere per volt square), and mu P C oxide will be 48 microampere per volt square.
1/3.
1/3. It should be equal to 1/3.
W by L is equal to 1/3.
Okay. बाकी किसी और का भी 1/3 है?
I'm getting 0.7.
कितना आया?
0.7 it says.
0.7.
Around like 10.
Okay, so I think this is the formula W by L of 5 divided by W by L of 3. Okay, less than mu n by mu p twice VDD minus 1.5 V threshold of n into V threshold of n divided by VDD plus V threshold of p whole square. Okay. So you have to find W by L of 5. W by L of 3 is given to you, that is 2 by 4. Okay. So this is basically W by L ratio of 5 less than, this is 2 by 4 into mu 1 by mu p. This come out to be 2 again. 96 divided by 48. If we take C oxide as a same, this thing, so twice of VDD is 2 volt minus 1.5 into 0.7. Okay. And this is again 0.7. So this will be 2 plus 0.7 whole square. Yeah.
Yes.
So what is the value you got after solving this? This will be basically 1.
0.3. Yeah, that's
0.
0.182.
0.182.
Yes.
Okay. So you find that your W by L should be less than 0.182. Okay, this should be the condition. Now after that, if you look at that W by L ratio of M1 and M2 and then M3 and M4, you will find that L for both is 4. Okay, L for both is 4. So W of 5 is less than basically 4 into 0.182, if you can write. Okay, if you take L as 4, because L, you know, M1 and M2 both have same, M3, M4 is 4. Similarly for 5 also, L can be 4. Okay, 0.182 into 4, that would be W5 is less than 0.728. Okay. Less than. So it should be like W by L value can be less than this. So it can be anything value less than 0.782. So you can write that less than 0.728 divided by 4. Okay, because L is 4. So this will be your value for your M5 and M6, such that your values are read or right without any error. Fine? Any doubt? Okay, fine. Who is absent today? Six, 10 are present. Harsh,
I guess Muzaffar Hussain.
कौन है absent आज?
Muzaffar.
आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रही आपकी.
Sir, Muzaffar.
मुजफ्फर,
कब आ रही है
सर मुजफ्फर एंड आकिब
मुजफ्फर एंड आकिब.
यस
Okay. हाँ जी. क्या करना है? इम्प्रूव करना है. अब इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए तो देखो कोई प्रोसीजर होता ही नहीं है. नहीं, मैं ऐसा नहीं ना, अनऑफिशियली मैं नहीं कर सकता. अगर आप यहाँ पे भी देते हो, अब ये तो चलो ऑनलाइन है, जो मर्जी है, यहाँ पे भी देते हो, देयर इज नो प्रोसीजर फॉर इम्प्रूवमेंट. हाँ, अगर आपका मिड टर्म मिस हो गया है बट उसमें भी जेन्युइन रीजन है, उसमें आपको प्रूफ वगैरह देना पड़ती है, देन देयर विल बी अ मेकअप. बट आई थिंक जब दिया है तो फिर उसके बाद नहीं होता इम्प्रूवमेंट. Okay, in the next lecture we will start with the DRAM and then finally ROM. Okay, ROM is not that much bigger. We will left with the DRAM and then some other type of RAM, that is FRAM, ferroelectric RAM. Hopefully, yeah, it will be completed with next week. Okay, so we will done with the memories part. Okay, thank you.
थैंक यू सर
Thank you, sir.